In today's video for Wuchang Fallen Feathers, I'm going to be going over how you can make an absolutely devastating early game axe build that destroys all of the bosses, is a ridiculous amount of fun to play, and also is quite easy to put together. As you can see in the background, this thing tears through bosses like they're not even there, but also it gives you a lot of survivability, and I think it's probably the best axe that you can get in the game, which fortunately you're able to grab very early on, because its unique skill is just crazy and allows you to get in, do a whole bunch of damage, but also allows for a versatility of avoiding damage if you need to. Now, like I said, the bread and butter of this is going to be the axe. This thing is ridiculously powerful for how early you get, as we'll be using the empyrean greataxe. Obviously, the main thing about your axes is their blunt damage. You'll want to invest heavily into strength, upgrading the actual damage of the greataxe as well whenever you can with your red feathers and such. And damage is what you're after pretty much entirely. But as well as that, the skill that you get with this, the Empyrean Crash, is one of, in my opinion, the best skills in the game. This allows you to initiate a whole bunch of combat, really do some great damage on those enemies, and as you saw, the bosses alike. But also, from time to time, if they're going to be doing an attack on you, you can use this to completely avoid them. The second slot's free, we've got block at the moment, but you're probably switching that off for a skill of your choosing later on. Over to our secondary weapon, and one you're able to pick up, probably one of the earliest pickups actually in the game, and that's going to be the Dark Frost Edge. This magic sword is really good for whenever you're using magic, or whenever you're trying to mitigate a whole bunch of attacks, because it's one of the best defensive weapons in the game. Its special skill, Evasive Maneuvers, gives you amazing iframes, it really does. You almost dodge everything with this, so whenever you feel like you're in trouble and you need to kind of take on enemies from a bit of distance, or you think you need a bit of leeway in your build, then rather than mitigating damage by just face tanking everything with your axe, you can actually back off a little bit, use some magic, and then if you are in trouble, use your evasive manoeuvre to dash away and get out of things. Honestly though, these two pair together amazingly. It allows you to deal with a whole bunch of situations and bosses, and gives you the flexibility to determine whether you're going to go in, absolutely face tank and destroy everything with your axe, and use all of the high damage that way, or like I said, if you need to and you're facing something you've just taken down some of your health, or you want a bit of range on, you can back off, switch to magic and take them out with some long range spells that you seem viable. One thing I would advise upon, if you can, spend just one skill point in the actual one-handed sword skill tree, give yourself biding time, and then if you wanted to prepare for a boss fight that you thought was going to be a tricky encounter, you can always switch over to your sword, and after a couple of minutes it will have fully charged your Skyborn Might, allowing you to have a great start for those tough encounters. Over to the armour set you'll be wearing, and because of how early on you'll be using this build, the best one you can equip is going to be the Mint armour set. You're going to want the head, the chest, the gloves and the legs, and all of these are going to provide a whole bunch of mitigation, but more so towards kind of physical contact, giving you massive resist to your slash and stab with a little bit on your blunt. This works out really well because of how close range you'll be to most enemies, and the only times you'll find this lackluster is when you're facing enemies that have certain magic types like lightning, or of course it's not actually that great against, and it doesn't have the best resistances against elements as well. For your pendant, you're going to be using the gourd pendant. This will give you a bit of survivability when you're on low health, and one of the main things you'll need with a build like this will be speccing into your health, so it works out really well to give you a bit of mitigation when you probably most need it. As well as that, as soon as you can pick this one up, you're going to want to equip this, as a lot of the toughest enemies in this game are the larger variety, so the Fiend Felling Pendant works out perfect because it gives you extra damage on those larger foes. Then, to give yourself a little bit of extra stamina, because this can be quite stamina hungry when you're using your greataxe, is a little bit of a cumbersome weapon, but it's definitely worth wielding. We're going to be using the Twin Infant Pendant, which is going to give you a bit more stamina recovery speed. Now for the spells, this is going to be your choice. Early on, I would stick with your kind of first off spell, your Vorpal Blade. Only costs one, really easy to use, so it's perfect for kind of long range purposes. The other two slots, down to your own playstyle, use them for flexi slots, but another one you'll definitely want will be this last one just here, the Divine Ward. This one's going to mitigate a little bit of extra damage, so if you can put it on before your trickiest encounters, pretty much whenever you're facing those tough bosses and such, you're going to want to pop this just after you've used your Tempering and be able to dish out a whole bunch of damage as well as have some great survivability. Finally, for your item slots, Steam Bun, do not forget about these things. They are absolutely amazing in the right circumstances. At any time you need a little bit of health regen, this thing's going to really come in clutch. and of course your tempering for whenever you want to boost your damage and make your build more powerful overall. The third slot here, I use it as a flexi slot. As you can see, I'm not going to be using this at the moment, the thing that's in it, so put whatever you want here, and then after that you're going to have your health flasks, which I have 4 at the moment, so I must have used one during this video. And obviously with your health flasks you want to upgrade them as much as possible whenever possible, and hopefully at this stage you'll be holding at least 4 with 1 or 2 points investment in restoring a little bit more health to yourself. Now the great thing about this build, it gives you so much flexibility now. Like I said, you can back off, you can go in close range, which you'll be doing most of the time because this axe is just absolutely amazing. And honestly, I can't believe you can get this as an early game weapon, because personally it's one I'm going to be building around until I complete this game fully first time. The Empyrean greataxe is really destructive, so just spec into your strength, go for broke on a lot of situations, but also start building around your health pool. If you haven't got much health, then you will struggle and you'll get hit and not be able to recover from certain bosses if they're completely relentless. So what you want to do, make sure you've got enough health about yourself so that you can use your skill move very effectively, and even if you do take a tap in the process, you'll be able to back off, heal up, or like I said, go over to your magic if you want to dish out a bit of damage that way. Right, over to the skill tree, and I'll zoom out so you can see exactly what's going on. Don't worry if you haven't got this many skill points. I think I had about 25 or 27 at this point, but whatever you've got going on, the first thing you'll want is to move over to your left hand side and pick up some upgrades to your health potions, giving you a little bit more health restore as well as an extra potion overall. Then you're going to bop all the way left and make sure you pick up everything that's going to give you extra health. But as you go through the health nodes, one that you will want to know about is going to be energetic. This allows you to regain a little bit of stamina whenever you get Skyball Might. Remember, because we're speccing into our axe, when you get, I believe it's the 4th hit, actually generates 3 Skyball Might, so you get a little bit of stamina back that way, and stamina is definitely key to this build alongside your health and damage. Then just keep speccing left, grab yourself a whole bunch more health as you go, but also you'll want to pick up the extra use of your tempering. As long as you've got the points as well, you'll want to invest in Skyball Call 2 and 3, as this will help you to get a lot of extra Skyball Might and just makes things easier overall for maintaining and using your skills in your build. Over to your axe skill tree, and with this it's going to be well rounded because you'll want to focus on strength, endurance, anytime you can boost your attack power of your axe, and of course health as well. But you'll be picking up some really nice tasty nodes along the way that can help to make axe, in my opinion, one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful weapon in the game. Tide Turner is going to help you to get a little bit of endurance back, which is always nice. Then by specking over on the left hand side, you're going to pick up health, Shudder and Crush to help you with a little bit of a faster, heavy charged attack. And then of course, you'll definitely want to upgrade your axe power, so pick up as many of these as you've actually got available. Then if possible, you're going to want to make it all the way to the end, because this one's really good. Axe and Hook helps you charge the heavy attacks to kind of maintain their momentum, and if something's hitting you, you deflect quite a bit of the damage this way. Then you're going to be off on the right hand side, picking up nodes in this straight line for the skill tree. And one of the first ones is very notable because Strike and Cleave actually allows your build to work a whole bunch better overall, as I use light attacks very often after I've used my skill move from my Empyrean axe. This actually dishes out a lot of damage that way, so using the move, then going into your light attacks, hitting 3 or 4 in a row, then doing the move again, actually decimates most of the enemies in the game. Then just keep continuing up this way and it will give you a whole bunch of extra stamina as well as a little bit of extra strength. Tempering, I pretty much stuck with the flame build, so if you can, this works out best for damage, you'll want to chuck that on. But one thing I forgot to put in this video, if you did want a little bit more survivability, especially when you kind of get into the bigger instances and bosses and running through the maps, you may want to put on the Leech Needle in some situations, as that's going to give you a bit of health back. Overall though, as long as you've got enough potions, most times you're not going to need this too much, but it can be something you want to look into if you're going to be exploring quite a large area. Over to the benedictions, and at this point honestly I didn't have loads to choose from, so pick whichever ones you think are going to be advantageous to your build. Anything with stamina, damage reduction or damage for them is something you want to invest in. I ended up with the Oath Way to give me a bit of damage whenever you're going to be learning 3 discipline skills, then Memory Ren with your Skyball Vigour, as this is going to give you a bit of stamina recovery whenever you've got Skyball Might kicking in. And then finally, the last one I used as a flexi slot. At this point I had one that wasn't great for my build, as it was just Wisdom Way. So if you've got anything that can kind of take this place and give yourself a bit of mitigation or damage dealt, then put that in instead. Honestly though, this build will absolutely devastate the early game. You'll have a lot of fun with it, it's versatile. Like I said, you're going to have a bit of mitigation going, but you're also able to launch attacks better than anyone else with your special moves, as well as it being really powerful. One thing to remember, if you are taking on a lot of multiple foes, don't forget your heavy attack. Charge that, you're going to do a big swing. Most times you're going to break their posture whenever they're from behind, and then you'll be able to do an obliterate attack. And for anyone who was worried about skill points, then this area just here, absolutely amazing for early game. And if you need somewhere to farm XP and skill points, I've got this guide on the channel in order to hopefully get you up there fast. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the guide. There's going to be a whole bunch more content away from me. For now, take care. I'll see you on the next day.